Okay, so this is a continuation of Unit 4, Day 1 notes. This is the second portion. So we already practiced finding slope given a graph. You can pick any 2 points on a line, and if you can find their ordered pairs, you can find the change in y, or the change in height, and you can find the change in x, or the change from side to side. Okay, and so we can choose any 2 points because the slope will be the same since this is a straight line with no breaks and no bends. We can always find the exact slope there. So if you're given a coordinate grid, I'm going to bend down for 1 second here. If you're given a coordinate grid, you want to choose points on the line that are very solidly on an intersection of your grid. So I would choose that one happily. I would choose that one happily. But if you notice right here, that's not really exactly on the intersection. So I would not choose that point just because I don't know exactly what its coordinates are, right? And this just didn't photocopy very well. It does have a grid. It's just hard to see. All right, so if I want to find the slope of this graph, I need the change in y over the change in x. So one way we call this, we say y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And you want to remember that the subscript number is just a label. That is just helping us know which x we're talking about and which y we're talking about. So I'm going to choose these 2 points. And I'm going to say this is my first point right here. That point, my first point, is at 0, 1. Okay, so that means x sub 1 is the 0 and y sub 1 is the 1 there, because that is my first point, so I have sub 1. Okay, my second point here is at, I hope it is at 1, 3. It looks like it's at 1, 3. My second point is at 1, 3. Okay, that means my x here, this is my second x, so this is x sub 2, and this is y sub 2. Okay, so this is where I am getting my numbers. I'm going to say y sub 2 minus y sub 1. I'm y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 is 1 minus x sub 1, which is 0. Okay, if you happen to have negative numbers in your ordered pairs, just be really careful if you're subtracting a negative that you don't lose any negatives. Okay, this math, 3 minus 1 is 2. Over 1 minus 0 is 1. 2 over 1 is really 1, right? So 2 over 1 is 2. My slope is 2. They have given me the equation of this line. F of x equals 2x plus 1. So we could write that as y equals 2x plus 1. Also, we know that that is the slope. That is the m, or the slope. And we know that this number, 1, that should be where I'm crossing the y-axis. That is the y-intercept. We call that b. So remember, we say y equals mx plus b. M is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And sure enough, right here, I'm crossing that y-axis at 1. All right. So just a quick reminder about negatives in fractions. Okay, if you were to do this math, negative 5 divided by 1 on your calculator, negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. Okay, I have my negative sign in the numerator. If I do this math, 5 divided by negative 1 in my calculator is also negative 5. These are equal to each other. They're equal, but we don't really like to have a negative in the denominator, so don't stick it there, please. Please move it to the top. Or you can also move it just to the left of the whole fraction, because this means I want the negative of 5 divided by 1. Well, 5 divided by 1 is 5. If I want the negative of it, it's negative 5. These are all equal. They're all equal. Okay? We just don't really like that middle option. We do not like to have a negative in the denominator. This fraction, negative 5 over negative 1, is not equal to the other 3. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 is positive 5, right? This is different. Notice it has 2 negatives. So you would never want to send in your answer, your final answer to something with 2 negatives, because there's more math to be done. You can think of it as giving me an answer of like 2/4. You can still simplify it, okay? So this is not equal to the other 3. It's not equal to the other 3. Just be careful with your negatives. All right. Let's quickly find the slope of these lines. I have a point right here, and I have a point right here. I am going up and sideways, oops, that's +1, by 1 unit, like that. So I can see that I'm going to go from this point to this point. First of all, I can see that it's a negative slope, okay? I can see that I had to go down 1, 2. I went down 2. I say negative because I'm going down. Now I'm going from 0 to 1. Whomp, I went over 1. My slope here is -2 if I simplify that. Okay, it just says find the slope, so that's all I'm going to do. That slope is -2. This slope over here is a positive slope. I'm going to choose this point, and I'm going to choose this point. And every one of my boxes is going up by 1, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. I just went up 3, so it's going to be +3 in my numerator. That's my change in y. And then over, whomp, 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 I went over 4. This slope is up 3 over 4. For each of these, I could actually still find the ordered pairs. This is 2, 5. This ordered pair is 6, 8. I can use my ordered pairs to also find the slope. So right down here, if I want my change in y, I'm going to just pick, this is going to be my first point. Sorry, we caught an announcement a little bit there. Okay, this is going to be my first point, point 1, and this is going to be my second point, although it really doesn't matter. You pick and choose whichever point you want to be point 1 and point 2. If this is my second point, that's y sub 2. This is my first point, so that's y sub 1. I'm going to say 8 minus 5 over my second x is going to be 6, and my first x is going to be 2. 8 minus 5 is 3, sorry, and 6 minus 2 is 4. Whoa, that was rough. Okay, so 3/4. Mathematically, I have come up with the slope based on specific ordered pairs, but also I could see physically that I had to move up, whomp, 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 up 3, and then whomp, 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 over 4. Over here, if I were to choose these ordered pairs, this would be at 1, 0, and this would be at 0, 2. Okay, if this is my first point and this is my second point, I have 0, lots of announcements, so sorry, 0 minus 2, so y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I have -2 over 1, which is -2. And that's what we figured out just by visually looking on the graph. Okay, this graph, this is the line I'm talking about, and I can see that this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. Always be careful when you're looking at a vertical or a horizontal line. Just be careful that you are looking at the line you're talking about and not accidentally looking at one of the axes. Okay, so this is a vertical line. I'm thinking to myself, vux or hoy. Well, vertical line gives me vux. That's what I care about. A vertical line has an undefined slope, and I know x equals some number. So x is going to equal some number. That's how I'm going to write this equation of this line. I just noticed that I'm just finding slope. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to continue this anyway because it's going to come up. Okay, x equals some number. Well, at this ordered pair, it's -2, 0. My x is -2. At this ordered pair, it's -2, 3. At this ordered pair, it's -2, -1. You can see that every single x equals -2. So sorry, that was a sneak preview because I didn't need to find my equation of the line. I am just following the directions and finding the slopes of these lines. Looking at any vertical line, a vertical line has a slope that is undefined. So I would just write the word undefined. So, oops, sorry for the sneak preview. Okay, looking down at number 4 here, I just want to find the slope. M is the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to look here, and I'm just picking these 2 points. There may be other points I could use. So first of all, it's a negative slope, right? I'm going downhill, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went down 5 and then over, whomp, 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 over 4. That's my slope. Okay, this one is going to be positive. I get to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I went up 4 and then over 1, over 1. Okay, 4 over 1 really equals 4. And I now have a horizontal line. So again, be careful. The line I'm talking about is here. This is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. Just be careful that you're talking about your actual line and not the axis nearby. Okay, if I'm thinking about a horizontal line, I'm thinking hoy. I can have vux or I can have hoy. I'm thinking hoy. And so that gives me a horizontal line with a 0 slope and y equals some number. So I'm going to say the number that represents my slope is just the number 0 there.